Let's be honest, women rarely recognize a man's value while he's right there, giving everything he has. Love, attention, effort, they take it for granted, assuming it will always be there. But the moment you disappear, when your messages stop and your presence fades into silence, the realization hits. And that's when regret begins to take root, quietly, like a slow burning fire. It's not always tears that mark her deepest remorse. It's the silent moments when her mind replays all the times she dismissed you, when she ignored your gestures, rolled her eyes at your words, or assumed you'd always be there because she believed your love was endless. And then, suddenly, it isn't. Your absence becomes a mirror, reflecting the truth she refused to see. She took you for granted. Every morning, she checks her phone, hoping to see your name, and every day, that hope crumbles. She scrolls through old photos, watches your stories, searching for a hint that you still think of her, but all she finds is a man who is calm, unbothered, free. That's the first brutal truth. Your absence hurts more than your presence ever did. While she thought she could live independently, she was unknowingly addicted to the comfort you provided, the way you made her feel safe without being asked. Now, alone with her thoughts, she lies awake imagining someone else hearing that voice, feeling that warmth she once rejected. And that thought burns her from the inside. When a man leaves quietly, without drama or anger, he doesn't give closure, he gives curiosity. And curiosity paired with regret is lethal. She starts analyzing your social media, searching for clues. Does he still think of her? Did he ever truly love her? Or was she just another chapter in his life? But the cruelest part is your silence. No posts, no reactions, no messages, just absence. And that absence whispers over and over, he's gone for good. That's the second brutal truth. A man's silence speaks louder than words ever could. Each day you don't reach out, she replays your efforts in her mind. Every argument you tried to resolve, every time you forgave her without receiving an apology, now looms over her as guilt. She thought your patience was weakness, but it was discipline. You weren't chasing her, you were choosing her. And when you stopped, it wasn't spite. It was respect for yourself. That's the third brutal truth. The one she needed most, she only recognized after she lost you. Suddenly, every other man seems inadequate. Every smile feels empty, every flirtation hollow, because her heart remembers the depth of what she let slip away. She wonders if you've moved on, but the truth is, you've moved forward with yourself. And that stings most of all. Losing you wasn't just losing a partner, it was losing the version of herself that existed only in your love. She tries to convince herself she's fine, that she doesn't miss you, that your absence feels like relief. She masks the truth with rationalizations, telling friends he was too intense, that it wasn't meant to be. But inside, her chest feels heavy. You disappeared without warning, and now the war inside her begins. Every thought turns into questions. Why hasn't he reached out? Does he even care? The silence is unbearable. Your presence was more than romance, it was stability, an anchor she didn't realize she depended on. That's the fourth brutal truth. When a man disappears, she starts judging herself through the lens of his absence. Her guilt becomes obsession. She experiments, trying to get your attention, comments, likes, subtle messages, anything to see if you're still there. But when you don't respond, the fifth brutal truth lands. Nothing is more painful than realizing the man who once chased her no longer cares to be found. What she craves isn't just you, it's the feeling of being chosen, the calm in her chaos, the sense of being safe and seen. Every new man pales in comparison. No one challenges her, no one carries that quiet strength that made her feel both secure and understood. That's the sixth brutal truth. A man who disappears after giving his best becomes unforgettable. He taught her, through absence, the pain of losing someone loyal. She tries to move on. Dates feel shallow, conversations scripted. No one ignites her heart the way you did. No one brings peace to her storms. Your silence lingers in everything, echoing in her laughter, betraying her smiling selfies, haunting her empty moments. She realizes she didn't just lose a man, she lost the soft, seen, and safe version of herself that existed only with you. And that realization hits like a storm, unstoppable, unforgettable, relentless. Because the truth she runs from is the very truth that haunts her every night. She once believed she could live without you. But now, even her thoughts circle back to you, wondering if your name has already faded from memory. It's no longer just sadness. It's a quiet, aching fear, the kind that settles deep in her chest. The fear that while she's replaying your last words, you're already building a life, a world, a memory without her. That's the seventh brutal truth. A woman's deepest fear isn't losing love, it's being forgotten by the man who once gave it freely. You've become a ghost in her life, not one that terrifies her, but one she can't stop searching for. She revisits old messages, photos, screenshots, anything that reminds her of the man you were. Every post you make carries weight. If you look happy, she feels small. If you look distant, she grows curious. If you post nothing at all, her anxiety multiplies. Your silence speaks volumes, louder than arguments ever could. And her imagination becomes her enemy, crafting stories she dreads. Maybe you've moved on, maybe you've changed, maybe you've become everything she secretly hoped you'd be, but now for someone else. That pride she once held so tightly begins to crumble. She starts dropping hints, small signs meant to catch your attention, a quote, a subtle photo, an accidental like comment. But it doesn't work. You don't play the same game anymore. You've learned what she hasn't. The most powerful revenge isn't anger or drama, it's peace. And that's the eighth brutal truth. When a man's energy shifts from chasing her to building himself, she feels a loss deeper than she ever anticipated. Your silence is no longer absence, it's evolution. You're not ignoring her. You're rising, growing into the version of yourself she never imagined could exist without her. Suddenly, every word she once spoke in anger echoes back like thunder. Every dismissive remark she made now fills her with guilt. She realizes she didn't just lose a boyfriend, she lost her safe place. The one man who loved her chaos without fleeing. But she can't reach you because you're no longer the same man who waited for her validation. You replaced waiting with purpose, reacting with growth, and that transformation terrifies her. The ninth brutal truth is clear. When a man disappears to reclaim his strength, he forces a woman to confront her own weakness. She will try to move on, but something inside her resists. Deep down, she knows she was the reason you disappeared in the first place. You gave everything patience, loyalty, time, and she offered lessons disguised as love. But you learned them well. You discovered that your silence is sacred and your absence potent. She finally sees she mistook your devotion for weakness. But the man who walks away with peace doesn't lose. He transforms. And that transformation haunts her more than anger or tears ever could. By now, she's not just missing you, she's craving you, but in a way that isn't about attraction. It's about closure. It's about knowing that even after she gave you every reason not to, a piece of your heart still belongs to her. She wants reassurance, but she can't get it. You've changed. You're no longer the man who waited by the phone. You no longer need validation or approval. Your silence has become a mirror, reflecting the truth of what she lost and showing her how rare your presence truly was. Every new man she encounters pales in comparison. Compliments don't land the same. Texts feel hollow. Because what she's really chasing isn't another man, it's the feeling of being adored by someone who saw her soul. You loved her depth, her vulnerabilities, the darkness she hid. That's what she misses. But now she realizes the man she took for granted isn't just gone, he's evolved. You didn't just walk away, you outgrew her. And once a man grows beyond a woman's emotional reach, she can't pull him back. She can only remember him. That's why laughter feels hollow, why smiles seem forced. Your silence isn't punishment, it's peace. And peace, she now understands, is a force she can't compete with. She'll convince herself she's moved on. She'll date. She'll travel. She'll laugh for the world to see. But every measure is weighed against you. And the 10th brutal truth becomes clear. A woman only realizes your value when your energy no longer depends on her approval. She's addicted to the version of you that once needed her. But now you've healed, detached, and transformed. You've become something rare, a man she cannot control, cannot predict, cannot possess. While she chased validation externally, you build it internally. Now, she watches your silence like a film she can't pause. Every post, every smile, every calm breath reminds her you are thriving without her, and that is a reality her ego cannot comprehend. She mistook availability for devotion, patience for weakness. But now, the man she once overlooked is untouchable. You. And what she realizes too late is this: your disappearance didn't break her heart, it shattered her illusion. The illusion that love could be taken for granted and still be there waiting when she finally decided it mattered. And that craving, that ache inside, becomes something far darker. Because she knows the man she lost isn't just out of reach, he's become someone no one else can replace. She starts longing, but not for you in the way she used to. Now she longs for redemption, for proof that she still matters in your world. She wants to feel that she hasn't been erased from your life. But you've evolved beyond that game. You've learned to walk alone, to sit with silence, and to rebuild your strength from the inside out. You no longer wait for closure because you've become your own. And that is what truly destroys her, seeing that you no longer look back, that your silence isn't punishment, it's resurrection. You rose from the ashes of her indifference, and your peace has become her punishment because she cannot reach you anymore. You've leveled up emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and that version of you doesn't need her validation to feel valuable. She's left chasing memories that offer no answers, and in that pursuit, she begins to understand a harsh truth. Your disappearance wasn't abandonment, it was graduation. You outgrew the chaos that once held you small. The man you've become is everything she wished for, but now he's beyond her reach. Here's the secret she won't tell anyone. When you disappeared, she didn't just lose a man. She lost her mirror. You reflected back the love she always hoped to receive, the loyalty, patience, and understanding she didn't know how to handle. You showed her what it meant to be loved fully, yet she wasn't ready to recognize it. And when you left, she was forced to confront the chaos inside herself alone. The problem was never your effort. It was her inability to value it. Every quiet night now reminds her of what she destroyed. She lies awake, scrolling through messages she can't send, hovering over your name, battling the urge to reach out. But she won't because she knows she lost the right to your energy. You gave her something rare, pure masculine peace. A presence that didn't demand, didn't prove, didn't chase. A man who loved from strength, not desperation. That's the 11th brutal truth. A woman can find attention anywhere, but she can only find true peace once, and it's usually with the man she lost. Attention is easy to replace. A compliment, a text, a date, they all fill the surface. But peace? That requires depth, stability, and the kind of grounded energy only a man like you could give. When you disappeared, she didn't just lose love, she lost balance. Now your silence is her teacher. It's showing her what words never could. That love without gratitude dies quietly. That pride has a price. and that once a man knows his worth, no apology can reclaim him. Your disappearance didn't make you colder, it made you clearer. You stopped pouring your heart into places that couldn't hold it. You stopped explaining your value to those blind to see it. You became the man who doesn't chase validation because he embodies it. That's the 12th brutal truth. Disappearing doesn't make you weak. It proves your strength. It's when you stop convincing someone to see your worth and start living like you already know it. Your silence carries quiet confidence. It commands respect, attracts opportunity, and radiates peace. While she replays the past, you're building your future. You've turned pain into power, absence into growth. Disappearing wasn't about revenge, it was rebirth. It gave you space to evolve into the man you were always meant to be, free from someone who couldn't recognize your light. And one day, maybe weeks or months from now, she'll see it not in person, but through your evolution. Through the glow of a man who carries only peace, not resentment. She'll realize you didn't move on to another woman, you moved on to a higher version of yourself. That version can never be replaced. So, to every man listening, understand this. Your silence isn't emptiness, it's transformation. It's the sound of boundaries, of healing, of becoming someone who no longer settles for being half seen. You didn't lose her. She lost the privilege of your presence. Now reflect on this. When was the moment you realized walking away was the only way to protect your peace? Share your thoughts below and remind other men they're not alone. Because sometimes disappearing isn't the end, it's the beginning of the man you were always meant to become.